we have entered into the first chapter of the second part of All Out War. And what did you think of this issue?
I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite of the arc, but I actually liked the issue more than I expected to, if that makes sense. I thought it was going to be more of like a builder issue, but actually, kind of a lot happened to push the story forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, and like you just said, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect. I mean, it would be a setup, a builder episode that, I mean, we just came out of this massive battle. What was going to happen? So let's go ahead and kick into our top three. What do you say?
Okie doke.
Take it away.
Okay, my number 3 is Heath's quick recovery. What the heck? So this is the first time I am doing a complaint for one of my top threes. And I know this is a comic and you have to suspend your disbelief sometimes, but Heath out of bed like a little over an hour after his leg was blown off. And then he was up on crutches at Denise's grave. That was a bit hard for me to swallow. And unfortunately, it kind of took away from Denise's death a little bit the first time I read the issue. But, I thought I was like, I just could not overlook that for some reason.
I have that in my notes as well. I mean, I didn't make it one of my top three just because I'm like, no, that's not a top for me. That's sort of a... If we had a bottom three, that would have been number one on my bottom three. And I thought the same thing. And I went back. I'm like, wait, Rick said he was just out for an hour, right? This dude just had his leg. Yeah, his leg is gone. And suddenly he's sitting up. He's falling over. He's on crutches. He doesn't seem to be wincing or in pain. He's just like worried about Denise. I got to call bullshit on that. No way, man. No way is that the case. Or he is just the toughest guy ever in this entire series. Yeah.
So it was a little strange. I think I would have preferred them do a little bit differently, but I'll overlook it for now. It wasn't as distracting the second time I read the issue, but the first time I was like, I just couldn't get over it. Anyway, so what's your number 3?
My number 3 is an individual panel, and that would be the funeral, as you just mentioned. I thought that was just a beautifully rendered. It was wordless, totally effective. You see 4 graves there, who are the Orson family, Betsy and Charles, and obviously Denise and Holly. Barbara lived, by the way. I'm sure you're all
yeah, I'm so excited.
Really excited to learn that Barbara lived, but she did.
Yeah, they kill off 2 people that we've never
heard of. Not one. Even they said, I talked to them once. I don't know. I forget what they said. It kind of made me laugh. But what that panel made me realize, and looking over this whole issue, and I'm sure I did not make I think I read this somewhere, so I didn't make this up, but I can't remember where I read it, so I can't really source it. But it's basically the end of The Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. That's what this issue is. It's the, they're in a low point. Some things are lost, but they're not quite done yet. And then I was even thinking about it a little further. And you're not a big Star Wars fan, right?
No.
Sorry. So this is gonna be a lost on you. But then I started realizing throughout the whole arc of the issue, we got like the analog. And sorry, I'm going to go into brief little Star Wars thing, but there's an analog here for each of these. That you got Eugene is taken captive by the bad guy. So really, that's kind of Han Solo. He's taken off at the end of Empire Strikes Back. Rick, who's kind of like Luke Skywalker, he's even missing a hand. Leia is Andrea. Negan, I'm thinking, is more of the Emperor, and Dwight is Vader, Darth Vader, because at the end of the whole story arc, Darth Vader has a bit of a redemption, and I think Dwight is all due for his redemption. So I just got a kick out of that one panel, and the fact that it made me go like, dude, that's The Empire Strikes Back. That's awesome.
That's interesting.
I don't know who Lando is or who the droids are, but whatever. It's not a perfect analog, but it works for me. And I liked it. So that's my number 3, is that The Empire Strikes Back. Well, and ultimately what I really even mean by that is, in some of the best trilogies, now granted this is nowhere close to a trilogy, that middle chapter is also always supposed to be where the hero is at the lowest point. The hero hits a low point before he can rise back up. And that's part of the hero's journey. And I do see that as that analog as potentially somewhat of Rick's journey in this, is that this is a bit of a low point. He's got some people who don't want any part of this anymore, and other people who are still willing to fight, and they still believe in Rick Grimes. So there's my number 3.
Yeah, well, another thing I liked about that panel is we saw Father Gabriel. It might have been from the back, but we finally saw him. It has been so long since he has made an appearance in the comic that I wasn't even sure he was around anymore.
I assumed we saw the back of his head because Charlie Adler forgot how to draw him. So just do the back of his head. I don't even remember what he looks like anymore.
Too funny.
It's been a while. Your number two.
My number two is the cliffhanger with Dwight that you just mentioned. And I'm sure I'm the only one, and I'm not sure how I managed to do this, but I keep forgetting that Dwight is not loyal to Negan.
Oh, really?
Last issue, and I think I mentioned it, but I was kind of taken by surprise when he shot the Saviors in the head.
Okay.
And then this issue, when we got that last panel with Dwight looking none too happy, or kind of like, I don't know if he was going to take out Carson or what, but I was like, oh yeah, which is kind of, crazy. But anyway, I don't know. I thought it was a real good end to the issue. And I was, I'm totally looking forward to see how he and Eugene, hopefully work together or whatever to get Huge out of the little precarious situation that he's in.
Is Carson a very popular name?
Well, I
asked this only because Dwight's buddy there is Carson. And then we got Dr. Carson from the Hilltop. I'm just going to one issue, two guys with the same. All right.
Well, one is the last name. I assume Carson with the glasses, the Saviors, it's for his first name, but I don't know. But I think Kirkman's, addressed that before. And he said that, in real life.
Oh, people have the same name.
People have the same name. I mean, on my friends, I know tons of Erics, tons of Michelles, so it's just kind of one of those things. But
I know a lot of Corneliuses. Would that be Cornelia?
I don't know.
Sorry. Okay, go on. Do you have anything more to say on your number two?
Nope. Go ahead.
All right. My number two, Rick's leadership. I feel like it's sort of on full display in this issue.
Definitely.
He seems very calm. He seems very measured. He knows exactly who he wants to. He's like, let me talk to Jesus. He's surveying the damage. And I like that there is zero waffling and zero gauging everybody's feels on this about, no, we're leaving too. This is it. It's done. We're moving to the Hilltop. I really like that. And then, although we're going to touch on this a little bit later in some of the emails, the phone and seeing the phone and him leaving it behind, it does make me worry a little bit for going back to my original prediction that Rick is not going to survive this story arc. Feel like maybe he's getting his hero's exit, if you will, that right at the high point of his leadership, when all has come together, he is over his dead wife. He is working things out with his son. He is not overreacting. He's calm and measured. He's doomed.
Yeah. He was saying goodbye to Alexandria, that panel with him looking back.
That spread, that's another great spread that I just thought was fantastic. And it was. He looks sad, haggard, tired. Carl's even looking back at his father, looking back. And it's, got that sort of Western-like feel of sheriff's not long for this town. There's a new sheriff in town. That's my number two.
Okay, well, my number one is Eugene. I was so excited to see him again this issue, even though I knew that Negan was going to find him in the factory as soon as they showed him, and I'm sure everybody else did too. But when Eugene was first introduced, I thought he was pretty slimy and creepy, but he's just really grown on me, and I was kind of proud of him this issue. He's really acting like a leader, and he was trying to get that door shut in time so they wouldn't lose the factory to the walkers. And then, of course, when he stood up to Negan by refusing to make the ammunition for the Saviors, because, I wouldn't blame anyone for caving to Negan and Lucille's wishes. I was kind of like smiling like the whole time he was shown, because I was proud.
I'm so with you on that. I mean, just to get it out of the way, my number one is Eugene as well, so we can just get into it. I mean, he has had a really good arc, hasn't he? I mean, when he did first show up, there was nothing likable about the guy. This portly, weird dude with a mullet going on about his walkie-talkie, and then you find out he was a liar. Oh, not to mention he would sit there spy on Rosita and Abraham going at it.
Totally creepy.
Yeah, he was very creepy for sure. And do you think it was Abraham's death that finally kind of solidified this new Eugene that we've got?
I think partly, but I think mostly it's just him having a purpose. The whole And
he said that too, didn't he? He did make a point early on, or when he started with the ammunition thing. He wants to contribute. He needed to have a purpose. You're absolutely right, and he does have a purpose now.
And from what Rosita was saying last issue, that he's just been working night and day, and just been really driven. And so I think it's more the ammunition and being a contributor.
Well, and I love how he also, like Maggie, has specifically expressed his belief in Rick Grimes and the overall, I don't want to say agenda, but how does he put it? I don't quite recall, but he says something to the effect of, he believes in what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And God, I love that. That's big. That's special. That's what he's saying.
And saying that while Negan is standing over him.
Exactly. That takes some massive balls. I mean, in the face of Negan's crystal balls, let's face it, Eugene's got some massive gold balls. I mean, this guy, he's showing integrity. He is showing strength. He's and leadership. Like you said, the way that he was directing things in the ammunition factory, for lack of a better term, of wherever they're at, telling John, no, don't go out there. And then he's got to piss in a cup. I mean, he could have just pissed in a corner. But the way he did that and the way he stood up to Negan was just awesome. Even though, he's running the risk of losing his And I'm trying to clean this episode up a little bit. I don't want to get into the details of that. We can go into crystal balls, but I'm gonna leave it at that. But Eugene is willing to lose it all in order for the greater good, the bigger purpose of everything. And I love it when this comic does that. I love it when they show people not at their worst, not at their lowest, but at their best. And I feel that this is kind of Eugene at his best, when he is being beaten down, but he is still being strong. And this is a character that you would have never, like you said when we first met him, you would have never imagined that he would have had this much integrity.
Yes, he has changed so much, or at least our opinion of him. Or
no, I actually think I genuinely believe that he really has changed. That his arc has been a phenomenal one. That he was a bit of a coward, it's safe to say, and lied to Abraham and Rosita. Was a bit of a dick to Abraham when it came to kind of lying about him and Rosita being together. But he felt bad about it. He apologized to Abe before Abe died, and then when he turned around and chomped down on Dwight's crotch, which is still impressive considering he seemed to draw blood when he did that to Dwight. So, I personally, if I were Negan, I wouldn't be so quick to be grabbing my stuff and shoving them in Euge's face.
Well, obviously Negan does not know the story. I don't think Dwight shared that little bit with him.
You don't think so? He must. Maybe not.
Though maybe I don't know how you could hide that injury, but you think he'd be limping or something. But yeah,
well,
I don't know.
At least Eugene was smart enough not to chomp down on Negan. So, because I'm looking at the panel, Negan's leaning everything forward right into Eugene's face. God, that's so rude. My goodness, Negan, that's just rude. Don't do that.
So rude.
Okay. I think that's about all I have to say about Eugene and Negan's crystal balls. How about you?
No, that's all I have to say. Do you have any notes or anything that you wanted to touch on?
Well, like I mentioned about, Rick was out for an hour and Heath is okay. What the hell? Nicholas, his mustache is looking a little less 80s, a little more rockin' with a little scruff.
Yeah, he'd get a little beard scruff going.
But actually, I think that was, again, I'm going to bring this up. It wasn't one of our top threes, but man, the art and the artwork in this issue was just really good. I mean, these 7 issues have been phenomenal as far as that's concerned.
You had mentioned a couple other panels, but my favorite was the one when Negan shows up and Eugene and the girl are on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's, Negan standing over them with his men behind them. And I just really I was really impressed by it. I like seeing the new faces in this issue.
Yeah.
And like the saviors behind him were really interesting looking characters. And, you had the guy with the mohawk and the earrings, and I thought that was really cool. And I like the girl I just mentioned, I really liked her. I was kind of calling her Gina in my mind. This is the first time we've seen her, but she totally reminded me of my college roommate. So I was calling her Gina, but,
at first I got a little confused when we first saw her because, she looked a little like Maggie, and I was like, wait, Maggie doesn't have all those tattoos.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly why they gave her the tattoos.
Yeah, she doesn't look that badass. Just this Gina, as you were calling her, looks well kind of hot. So yeah, who is that?
Totally in her little shorts.
Yeah, her little short shorts. Gotta love that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see a little more of her. That was cool.
And we got some unbuttoned shirt action from Jesus. I'm sure you like that. And
sure, I am not complaining.
What about Ezekiel? We didn't touch on him at all.
Yeah, I did find that Michonne's. I'll try to talk a little sense into him. A little funny. I'm like, was she going to beat the sense into him again? I don't know.
Well, and Rick is saying, please do. Like just do something with him.
Yeah. It still hasn't been a lot of time. A lot of time has not gone by, but to us it seems like.
I know. And I've been the one kind of defending Ezekiel a lot of this time, but even I'm beginning to hit the point of like, dude, come on, just what are you doing?
Yeah. I'm ready for him to come out of it, but I think, I don't know, the longer he's in this funk or whatever you want to call it, the more it makes me feel that Kirkman has plans for him, and we're going to, see kind of an arc with him. So
I hope so. I really do hope so. I mean, I did, I've expressed this before. I like his character, and I've just been a little bummed out that this character I was kind of enjoying turned out to have such clay feet. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. you want your leaders to be strong, not infallible, but, you want them to be strong.
Yeah. Or at least just not like, oh, that was bad once, I'm backing out. Like, dude, you've just lived through a zombie apocalypse for 2.5 years or however long it's been. Come on, you can get through that. I don't know. Talk some sense into him, Michonne. Please do.
I was kind of surprised that she was still there sticking by him. So
I know. Actually, I was a little surprised
to her for that.
Do you have anything else? Any notes on your
my
end?
last note? I just wanted to say goodbye to the Alexandria safe zone.
Oh, that's true.
It's kind of. I know a lot of people are probably sick of it. We've been there since issue 69, I think.
Really? Is that when it was first introduced?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago. So what's that, like, I don't know, 52 issues ago? But,
that's impressive.
With that panel with Rick looking back on it, it just made me sad. It's kind of like a character, I think, dying for me.
So we had 36 issues in the prison, right?
Yeah, 37-ish, I think. But yeah, right around there.
So Alexandria has actually been longer. They've been in an Alexandria safe zone longer than they were in the prison. That's interesting.
Yeah, way longer. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but that was it for my notes.
Okay, so I guess that about wraps up the issue. Overall, I think it's a great introduction to the second half of All Out War. It was, like you said, not as much of a builder as we thought it might have been. There was actually some things going. I think we got, because of the action with Eugene's ammunition factory, it gave it a little more action than maybe we were expecting.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't as talky as I thought it was going to be, for sure.
It wasn't as talky. It wasn't just everybody retreating. It was this reasoned discussion on, we got to get out of here now. Houses are burned. The Orson family's dead. We gotta get out of here. But Barbara lives. So, all right, let's move on to listeners' moans, groans, and grunts. All right, our first email is from Koibito. First of all, he's got this itemized. So we got 3 items to discuss. Let's go ahead and discuss each item as we go. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Right. Number 1. Is Negan's junk as magic as he says it is? Where did he get such awesome power? I mean, first it can crack steel, supposedly. Now it can read the future. Do you think it holds even more secrets?
It probably does, but I do not want to learn them.
You just took the words straight out of my mouth on that one. Where do I think he gets such awesome power? His ego. And is it as magic as he says it is? No, I don't. I'm guessing it's probably, kind of little. That's my guess. I think Negan may be overcompensating. Number 2. Do you think Dwight will help Huge to escape or something like that? I myself must say that I expected him to be a bit more angry over the situation he was in, and more so over Dwight. But Eugene seemed strangely calm about it all and didn't even give Dwight a glare. And for a guy who bit another guy in the balls for being an eyeball-piercing jerk at this time, to suddenly be all, nah problem, man, against said bit guy, I find it strange that he would be so not angry over it. Will Dwight help him escape, and will maybe sort of bond, realizing that even amongst bitter enemies there might still be goodness and a chance for redeeming one's past sins? And then they make out. Or will they have an epic fight with nutcracker teeth and crossbows on top of the sanctuary whilst choirs are singing rock ballads down below? And then they make out. Okay. First of all, Coibito, you've got issues. I don't think Dwight and Huge are going to be making out anytime soon. I think Huge is, I don't think he's strangely calm about it. I think he was just beaten to a pulp and is probably kind of exhausted. It doesn't care too much about Dwight because he's got Negan and his crystal balls and his steel cracking cock standing over him. So,
yeah, it didn't strike me as strange at all. And
no, it didn't.
Like you said, he was beaten down and he's determined and he's focused. And, who cares about Dwight?
And to answer your question about whether or not they may sort of bond, yeah, I think they actually might. I think Eugene is reasonable and intelligent enough to overlook the fact that he killed Abraham, knowing that Eugene has made his mistakes too. And I think people who make mistakes and have had to live with those and have redeemed themselves have a greater understanding of others' abilities to redeem themselves as well. Number 3 on Coibito's email. How many more cups of coffee will it take before Ezekiel passes away from a caffeine overdose? Seriously, the man has been drinking like nonstop in almost every issue now since 118. I know he is grieving, but surely there must be a better ways than this. I don't want Ease to die. Not like that, not from the black, bitter goodness. No, not at all, really. Keep being awesome, you guys. Well, until next time, I bid you goodbye. Coibito away! You and your tagline. Okay. I hate to break it to you, dude, but Ezekiel wasn't drinking anything in this issue.
Yeah, I did not notice a cup at all.
There was no cup. No.
He was in the same position at the table, but there was no coffee.
No. So he's and if I doubt there's any coffee anyway. That probably went pretty quick. So it's probably, if he's drinking anything, it might be like lemon water or an herbal tea of some sort that's probably decaffeinated. So I don't think you need to worry about Ezekiel dying of caffeine overdose anytime soon. He might be drowning in his own tears and misery, but other than that, nah, no coffee. Really, the coffee would have gone really quick. Just like cigarettes and beer, that would have gone really quick in the zombie apocalypse.
I think so. Okay, our next one is from Pickles 312. In this issue, we saw Rick leaving the Alexandria safe zone and packing with Andrea. He specifically leaves the phone behind. At this point, most readers had forgotten that the phone was still there at all, but Kirkman still included these panels. I can only imagine this is for a specific reason. What significance do you think this has? Could it be some kind of foreshadowing? Pickles. And then the next one is similar to this, and it has a little bit of speculation. Do you want to read a little bit of the next one, and then we'll talk about it?
I'll go ahead and read the next one. Yeah, then we'll get into that. So the next email is from Justin Berger. Hey, guys. 121 was a pretty good issue. Nice way to start the end of this arc. After seeing Rick see the phone in the closet and then say he had nothing else to pack, followed by the 2-page splash, it kind of made me feel as if this is Rick's swan song. The phone was sort of like in Doctor Who when Matt Smith regenerated, and at the end we saw him with the fish fingers and custard. Sort of like this story is over. Don't worry, though, more will come. Also, couldn't Eugene go to work on ammo for the Saviors, but somehow make it all faulty ammo? It seems like he may die either way, so why not screw the Saviors a bit? And a side note, I cannot wait to see Dwight finally turn on Negan. Justin in Kansas.
Thank you, Pickles and Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, dude, I haven't watched that episode of Doctor Who yet. I haven't had a chance to get around to it. Thank you for spoiling that for me.
Oh, no.
That's all right. I'll live. I should have got around to it. That was the Christmas special. I just haven't had a chance to get
Too funny. Well, I think they're onto something. I thought you were a little crazy with your Rick is going to die theory, a few episodes ago, but now I'm just kind of coming around to it. After this issue, it's really the first time when I saw him looking back and, leaving the safe zone and looking back, I thought he's a goner, and I've never felt that way. So I think Justin's onto something.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I hate it when I'm right, but I actually love it when I'm right. So I'm going to really love it if I'm right. But I don't want to see Rick go. I don't think any of us want to see Rick go. But you're right. That panel has, and for me, it's not even Rick so much as the way Carl is looking back, and it does have this sense of the torches being passed somewhat. But in regards to the phone, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot it was there too, because I thought Rick had hit a point where he said, no, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore, quite a ways back. So to bring it up, yeah, I think it is maybe telling us something. And I don't think it's just he's over Lori. I think it maybe he's over the past. Period. And anytime somebody is totally over the past and fine with things, dead.
That's the end.
That's the end. Yeah, you couldn't see my, finger
going
across the throat thing there, but I don't know. I made the prediction, but it's going to be rough. If that happens, that's going to be a put the book down, not going to be able to look at it for a couple hours sort of moment. But we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I do want to make sure we didn't miss anything with Pickles. Let's see, we were talking about that. No, we talked about the phone.
But Justin had that about Eugene making faulty ammo. I definitely think that's something he could do, but I really think Dwight is going to intervene before he has to come up with a real plan.
Yeah, I hope so. I do hope so. Or if that is the case, that would be awesome on Eugene. And what a great idea. Good idea, Justin. I like it.
The next one is from Pork Tornado. Hello, Gracie and
I'm
Love.
sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Are those two words you really ever expect to put together normally? Pork Tornado?
No, I don't. But
I just had to throw it out. I love the name, by the way. So.
Okay. Questions for you guys. How do you think the Hilltop is going to feel about having Rick and company moving in? How will Maggie and Rick share leadership? Kirkman has been teasing that the book is going to be really different after the All Out War arc. How do you guys feel the book will be different than it is right now? Or do you think Kirkman is just pulling our legs like we all know he loves to do? Okay, Pork Tornado. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Porky.
Yeah, thanks a lot. What do you think?
Well, seeing that we're predicting that Rick is going to die, I'm thinking they're not going to have to share leadership very long. And I would love, and I've said it before, but I would love to see Maggie in a leadership role. Something about that pregnant female leader, I don't know, that really appeals to me. So if he has to die, I would love to see her as leader. I don't think Hilltop's going to have a problem at all with them moving in. I don't think that'll be an issue at all.
See, I got to admit, this is where I think maybe you and I were going to disagree a little bit. I do think they are going to have an issue with this, and only because of the fact that I would imagine Gregory may still have some people who may be somewhat loyal to him. And I don't think they're going to that they're going to forget the fact that the first time they met Rick, he sliced one of their community members in the throat. He killed a guy right when he first showed up to the Hilltop. And I think there may be, because there are, 200 people in Hilltop?
Something like that. I don't even remember.
It was a lot of people, if I recall correctly. I would not be surprised if some of those people seriously object to having what they might consider to be a bit of a madman, especially if Gregory's chewing on any of their ears, show up there. That could be some strife. Of course, Maggie could just say, shut the fuck up. I believe in Rick Grimes, and that could be the end of it.
Well, and she did mention last issue that some people did stay behind. So, and obviously Gregory stayed behind, so he could be chewing their ear the whole time. Who knows what's going on there?
I mean, I'm a little bummed because my prediction was they were going to go to the Kingdom, but such is life. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to see how that dynamic is going to happen once they get to the Hilltop. We don't know that many people from the Hilltop. I mean, Maggie and Sophia, sure. Gregory we know is a coward. Jesus we know is the ultimate ninja badass. Cal, who did chicken out, but then he came back. So I don't know. I have to admit, I'm really excited about how this is going to go. And as I mentioned before, I like the fact that Rick just very calmly and reasonably said, no, we're moving out of the Alexandria Free Zone, this place we've been in for so long, which was, in Rick's mind, the ultimate renewal for civilization could happen there. They now have to leave, and they're going to go to this place that, in Glenn and Maggie's eyes earlier, was the hope for civilization. So, we're kind of moving one step at a time towards something better and better and better. And then if we can move from a 60 some odd population into a 200 population, it opens up so many possibilities for where the book can be. I find it interesting that we're talking about, Maggie and Rick as a leadership duo, but I can't get over this nagging suspicion that Carl is going to play a major role in that as well. And of course, once they move to the Hilltop, we get to have the Carl Sophia thing kick back up again.
Yeah, that'll be nice to see them together.
It is going to be nice. How old is Carl at this point? Is he about, 10 and a half, 11?
I don't know. Kirkman says it even smells a little funny in there. He won't really give the timeline.
Yeah,
but I'd say 10 or 11.
A little older. What do you even think about the possibility of a potential future time jump? Have we talked about this before?
No. We haven't talked about that on the podcast. I personally hope they did not do a time jump. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of time jumps. I don't know. So I try not to think about that. I kind of hope they don't do it, but I don't know.
Well, bear with me for a moment. Imagine, if you will, Rick dies.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of issue, whatever this arc is going to be, 128? No, 126 is going to be the end of this arc, I believe. Rick dies at the end of that. 127. Negan's defeated. Rick is dead. And let's say they jump forward, 5 years. We've got a 5-year-old Glenn Maggie baby. Sophia and Carl are 17, dating. Mm-hmm. Carl's Carl's the leader. So I don't know. I could. There's a part of me that would really enjoy a bit of a time jump at this point, only because I know some of the complaints I've heard has been a sense of staleness with the same main characters and these kind of things. And it could be an interesting way to regenerate some new main characters. Just an idea. I don't know.
I'm open to anything. We'll see. I don't know.
Well, it's whatever's in Kirkman's head. Bring it on. I can't wait to hear. Next email. Sorry, a little diversion there. From Derek O'Neill. Hey guys, just finished issue 121. I'm absolutely loving this arc of the comic. Every time Negan meets a character for the first time, I get this brilliant feeling of unpredictability. I'm terrified for Eugene. He's been around so long and now made himself such a useful part of the group that he'd be such a loss if he goes. Rick is really making the tough decisions as a leader, too. It's great to see him managing the situation with all the little cracks starting to form. I also wanted to say a quick thank you for recommending Sweet Tooth to me on the Deadcast chat room this week. I blew through the first collection in one sitting and loved it. It's great to have something new and interesting to read. Loving the podcast and can't wait for the next episode. Thanks, Derek in Ireland.
Yay! Glad you enjoyed Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, awesome. That was great. And it was real pleasure to chat with you in the chat room. In the chat room, what we're talking about, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Monday evenings when the Walking Dead show is on, Jason and Karen record their podcast live. You as a fan can go and listen to the podcast as it's happening. You get to hear the little bits that they eventually edit out that you don't get to hear, and that's a lot of fun. Myself and Grace are often in there chatting away, and we did mention a comic recommendation that Derek was asking about, something new to read. We did recommend Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire. It is a complete series, 6 volumes, which I will recommend to everybody again. It's a phenomenal book series. And man, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's just cool. I'm so happy to hear that.
I am too. And I should probably give a quick shout out to PT and NASA for recommending it to me in the first place. So thank you.
Awesome. And as far as everything else you mentioned about Eugene and about Rick, as you just heard, we completely agree with you, or I completely agree with you. I'm not going to speak for you, Grace.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, thank you.
Okay. That about wraps up the letters. So, all right, that's our show, episode 133. Thanks for listening, everyone. Before we run off for all the contact information and give all the requisite info, I just wanted to give a bit of a plug real quick. Obviously, those of you who are listening, you're reading the comic. If you're reading the comic, you're reading it one of two ways. You're either reading it digitally or you actually have the book. I've done digital comics as well. That's how I read The Walking Dead for most of the time. But I felt the need to say, you know what, support your local comic book shop. I know, Grace, you have a local shop that you go to. I have my local shop. Mine is in San Rafael, California, Blue Moon Comics, run by a great guy named Sam. And it's such a different experience when you go in, you meet the owner or the people working in a comic book store, and it does not have to be the comic book guy from The Simpsons kind of experience. You don't have to go in feeling embarrassed because you don't know how to get started in comics, or where do you start, or what's a good title, or what's a bad title, or somebody going to look down their nose at you. Ask questions and get recommendations from these guys, because they're reading things that the rest of us aren't. Mm-hmm. And I've been turned on to some amazing books because the owner is saying, I'm reading these, they're great, and nobody's buying them. You should read them. And I turn around, I read them, and they're great, and I'm following up on them. And it's been a phenomenal experience ditching the iPad and the digital copies and going towards the hard copy. So I just wanted to make a plea to everybody. Visit your local comic book shop. Did you have your shop that you wanted to plug?
Well, sure. I'll give out a shout out to Titan Games and Comics. I go to the Duluth location, and they're great there. Very helpful, and you know, it's kind of overwhelming when you go there the first time, and especially as a woman, it might seem a little intimidating, but you know, just ask questions. And it's my favorite part of the week, going in, you know, driving there and going there. And, you know, when you're there to pick up The Walking Dead, then you can see all these other titles, and it really, something catches your eye, and you might, you know, pick up something that you wouldn't, you know, do otherwise. So I'm all about it.
And for those of you who don't know, Grace is in Georgia and I'm in California. And we record this across the country. But the great thing is, every Wednesday night, she and I get very excited about exchanging which new titles we picked up. And we've been talking about this, and it is one of the highlights of my week. Not just going into the shop and chatting with the owner, Sam, or whoever's working there, and just having that good geek chat that you get in a comic book shop. But then to come home and start messaging you, Grace, and you know, ooh, what'd you pick up? I mean, just today I was excited. Oh, I picked up this, I picked up that. And you're like, yay. I love that. That's such a great part. And you know what? You're not going to get that same experience when you're just kind of doing it yourself at home and downloading something. I mean, you can still have fun and talk about it with people. And I'm not knocking digital comics, because, I mean, ultimately that's the way that it's going to go. But like, for instance, there's a title, Trillium, by Jeff Lemire, that I don't understand how they're going to be able to actually do this digitally, because you actually have to turn the comic every so often, because the story flips, the panels flip, and you have to turn it around. And I made this mistake with buying Mind Management on digital, and I had to keep turning my comic to read something on the side. But, you know, an iPad doesn't lock. It turns with you, and you can't do it. And it's a pain. So visit your local. That's all I'm saying. And thank you, Grace, for giving me the opportunity to sit there and give my little spiel there.
Oh, yes, certainly.
So let's go ahead and wrap this up, eh?
Okay.
If you'd like to leave us a voicemail message, you can use the send voicemail button on the right side of the page at walkingdeadcast.com.
Or you can call us at 650-485-DEAD. That's 650-485-3323.
You can write to Under the Comic Covers at comics@walkingdeadcast.com, or reach Jason and Karen at brains@walkingdeadcast.com.
You can check out our website at walkingdeadcast.com, and don't forget to click through our Amazon link or just go to walkingdeadcast.com/Amazon whenever you shop at Amazon.com.
You can find the Walking Dead Cast on Twitter at Jason and Karen, on Tumblr at walkingdeadcast.tumblr.com, or on Facebook at facebook.com/deadcast. Under the Comic Covers also has its own Twitter account at UTC Covers. That's at UTCCOVERS. All right, that's our show.
Just a reminder that issue 122 will be released on February 26th, so we will see you shortly thereafter. Thanks for listening.
Don't get bit, Troy Blackford.
What does it mean to live for the common good? Introducing the Garrison Institute presents The Common Good, the brand new podcast from the Garrison Institute, a leading not-for-profit organization exploring the intersection of contemplation and engaged action in the world. Hosted by me, Jonathan F.P. Rose, a co-founder of the Garrison Institute, the series dives into the threads that bind us all. First, you'll discover the interdependent nature of life with environment